Report: China encourages the proliferation of nukes in Iran, North Korea. China, when the world's worst polluter, leads global rush for coal. Leaked documents reveal China and Russia sharing internet censorship control strategies. A serious population drop. Hong Kong taxpayers have decreased by 370,000 in the past 3 years. China's COVID vaccine factory shut down for half a year. Employees panic. On April 5th, Hudson Institute organized an online event managing China-related proliferation challenges to present a new report showing China's moves towards nukes. Richard Weitz, a senior fellow and director of the Center for Political Military Analysis at Hudson Institute, said that China's Communist Party, CCP, is quickly expanding its nuclear arsenal, both nuclear warheads and delivery systems, as well as improving their effectiveness. He suggested, "We still see China, despite this buildup, refuse to participate in strategic arms reduction talks or even engage with many countries on risk reduction measures. The CCP seems especially keen on developing nuclear weapons to attack the American homeland and its forces in the Indo-Pacific." Representative Mike Rogers said in February that China has surpassed the U.S. in the number of its operational intercontinental ballistic missile launchers. According to Rogers, the CCP currently possesses more long-range, nuclear-capable missile launchers than the U.S. Rogers said the CCP is rapidly expanding its nuclear capability. They have doubled their number of warheads in 2 years. We estimated it would take them a decade to do that. China's rapid nuclear development concerns Weitz, who said this situation harms global security and regional security because China's buildup makes state military planning more complex and the future of strategy more unpredictable. It also promotes the spread of nuclear weapons and nuclear delivery systems to other states. Weitz points out that despite earlier backing of such measures, the CCP is now attempting to undermine UN sanctions against Iran and North Korea's nuclear programs. He further claimed that the CCP is hiding its steps to stop non-state entities from acquiring nuclear weapons. Weitz said, "We've seen the Chinese Communist Party reduce its support for international sanctions on North Korea and Iran." Weitz added that the CCP has exploited Iran's isolation from the West to develop its relations with the Iranian government and may even support Iran's nuclear program. China is leading in coal burning capacity in the world in 2022, despite global promises to phase out the fuel. Citing the Global Energy Monitor, an organization that tracks a variety of energy projects in the world, AP News reported on April 6th that in 2022, the coal fleet increased by 19.5 gigawatts, which is enough to light up around 15 million homes. In 2020, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres demanded that the world stop developing new coal power plants and instead embrace green alternatives in a post-coronavirus reset world. In 2021, countries worldwide were committed to reducing their coal usage to facilitate limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Flora Champenois, the report's lead author and the project manager for GEM's Global Coal Plant Tracker, said the more new coal projects come online, the steeper the cuts and commitments need to be in the future. 8 nations announced new coal projects, and 14 countries added new coal facilities. Only China, India, Indonesia, Turkey, and Zimbabwe announced new projects in addition to adding new coal plants. 92% of all new coal plant announcements came from China. As shown by Breitbart News, a joint report released in 2021 by the Global Energy Monitor, GEM, in the United States and the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air, CREA, in Helsinki, China installed more coal-fired electrical power capacity in 2020 than the rest of the world combined. This rise in coal consumption defies Guterres' express mandate and the world's promise. A newly released investigation through leaked documents and recordings found that China and Russia have been cooperating for years, sharing tools and tactics in monitoring dissent and controlling the internet. It was reported by Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, RFE-RL on April 5th. RFE-RL's Russian Investigate Unit, known as Sistema, obtained these records from a source with access to the materials. DDO Secrets, a group that publishes leaked and hacked documents, provided software to search the files. Those materials gave insights into closed-door meetings in 2017 and 2019 between officials from Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC, its chief internet regulator, and Roskomnadzor, the government agency charged with policing Russia's internet. In their discussions through meeting notes, audio recordings, written exchanges, and emails, it is known that Russian officials are said to be seeking advice and practical knowledge from their Chinese counterparts regarding a range of topics, including how to bypass firewall tools such as VPNs and Tor. Russia also wants to crack encrypted internet traffic and seek advice from China's experience regulating messaging platforms. In turn, Chinese officials seek Russian expertise in media regulation and dealing with dissidents. In one exchange in 2019, CAC officials also asked Roskomnadzor to block multiple links to China-related articles and interviews that they deemed of a dangerous nature and harmful to the public interest. In another case in July 2017, Alexander Zharov, who served as the head of Roskomnadzor until 2020, asked the Chinese delegation led by then CAC Deputy Minister Ren Xianling to help arrange the trip. It was then possible to study the workings of the Golden Shield Project, a comprehensive internet monitoring and censorship system that helped create what is commonly known as the Firewall of China. Readouts and recordings from the July 17, 2019 meeting show that Roskomnadzor personnel inquired about the Chinese experience in thwarting attempts to circumvent blocking. As an example, Zharov used the agency's unsuccessful attempts to block Telegram in 2018. The Russian side added that it was interested in discovering how China utilizes AI to detect and obstruct prohibited content. There is no response from the Chinese delegation in the documents, but a 2023 RFE-RL investigation found that Roskomnadzor had started tracking Russians online, specifically looking for posts that criticize Putin or urge protests. Andrei Soldatov, a Russian investigative journalist and co-author of The Red Web, A Recent History of Moscow's Attempt to Control the Internet, said 2017 was a crucial time that decided what direction to take Russia's internet toward. He added, it was this period when Russia was looking at how to build the more sophisticated system that it now has in place, and it looks like the Russians learned something about how to do this from the Chinese. Hong Kong's Inland Revenue Department recently announced that on May 2nd this year, it would issue about 2.4 million individual tax returns for 2022-2023. According to some sources, the total number of Hong Kong's personal tax returns has decreased by 370,000 in the past 3 years, showing Hong Kong's population continues to seriously decline. The topic has sparked heated discussions. Many people estimate that 370,000 tax returns only reflect taxable residents' losses, and if non-taxable residents such as retirees, homemakers, and students were added, the total population loss could be over 500,000. Ming Pao checked the tax department's information and found the number of tax returns issued by the government has decreased for 3 consecutive years since 2020-2021. The average reduction was about 150,000 tax returns in the first 2 years and a further reduction of 70,000 in 2022-2023. Although the declining rate has slowed, it has decreased by about 370,000 tax returns in 3 years. According to the data, 2019-2020 has been a turning point in the past 10 years. Before that, the number of Hong Kong individual taxpayers increased from 2.37 million to 2.77 million, a cumulative increase of 400,000 people over 6 years. Li Xiaobo, an academic at Chinese University in Hong Kong, CUHK, said that if citizens lose their jobs, the tax department generally won't stop issuing tax returns immediately. So the figures mainly reflect the migration wave's impact, because migrants need to go through tax clearance procedures. Therefore, he believes Hong Kong's population will continue to decline. He estimates as the flow of migrants slow, some people may return to Hong Kong, and if the government also introduces some talent-attracting policies, the decline is expected to end next year or the year after. Paul Sui Fai, a professor at the University of Hong Kong, said the decline in Hong Kong's tax-paying population is mainly due to the migration wave and the baby boomer generation entering retirement age in recent years. He said most of those who intend to migrate have already left Hong Kong, but the number of migrants is still higher than before, making the situation very bad. Since Hong Kong allows dual citizenship, migrants from Hong Kong do not need to report to the government. Therefore, estimating the number of people leaving permanently in the past 3 years is difficult. From Hong Kong's Immigration Department data, a Vision Times reporter discovered that the number of Hong Kongers leaving the airport in 2020-2021 was nearly 39,500. In 2021-2022, the number increased sixfold to over 248,000. In 2022-2023, it dropped to over 171,000 people. In the past 3 fiscal years, the total number of Hong Kongers leaving the airport was about 460,000. Many people estimate the 370,000 tax returns only reflect taxable residents' losses. If non-taxable residents, such as retirees, homemakers, and students were added, the population decline could be even greater. For example, on average, every couple has 1.5 to 2 taxable residents, and with 370,000 lost taxable residents, the loss could come from 185,000 to 246,700 families. Assuming every couple has one child and one family has 3 people, the loss of 370,000 taxable residents shows 555,000 to 740,000 people have left Hong Kong permanently. Some people said this was already a conservative estimate, because some occupations don't need to declare their tax and many families have more than one child. There is pessimism about Hong Kong's prospects. As the number of taxpayers decreases, real estate prices and the state land tax also decrease. Many companies need more employees, their businesses has yet to recover and profits decrease, and income tax paid to the government is also less. Some people applied for tax exemptions in the year's second half, and Hong Kong's population will likely continue to decline. Recently, CanSino Biologics announced its vaccine subsidiary CanSino SPH would suspend production for a half a year. An employee confirmed this information and disclosed that since the end of last year, there was no serious work to do in the factory. On March 31st, CanSino Biologics, a significant COVID vaccine manufacturer in China, announced its vaccine production facility in Shanghai, CanSino SPH, was in production shutdown, leaving employees in panic. On April 3rd, a reporter from the Daily Economic News went to the CanSino SPH in Baoshan, Shanghai. An employee confirmed the authenticity of the information, saying, "Today a meeting was held and the production was announced to be suspended for 6 months. Regarding the compensation plan when the labor contract expires, the company's leaders are still discussing. Tomorrow, April 4th, there won't be many people coming to work." Currently, CanSino SPH has stopped production and only maintains basic operations. The employee also revealed the production shutdown sign first appeared at the end of last year. The employee said, "From the end of last year to the beginning of this year, there was no serious work to do, at most some drug testing a few times." Another employee revealed his department should have about 80 people, but only about 10 people are working. CanSino SPH released last year's results after the market closed on March 27th. The company recorded a loss of over $140 million, 965 million yuan, for the year. The company's second loss since 2020, and its revenue fell 76% year-on-year to about $150 million. On March 28th, the company's stock price fell by 5.15%. According to Daji Yuan, since the beginning of November last year, when the Chinese Communist Party intended to relax its strict pandemic prevention measures, CanSino's stock price has dropped 70.1%, closing at over $6 on March 31st. Regarding the revenue decrease, the company explained it was mainly due to the change in the price of vaccine products and that worldwide new vaccination rates slowed, reducing overseas markets' demand for vaccines. Expired vaccines and falling demand led CanSino to throw away almost $97 million of its vaccine inventory last year. According to public information on Baidu, CanSino Biologics is a vaccine research, development, and production company headquartered in the Tianjin Economic Technological Development Area. CanSino Biologics partnered with the Institute of Biotechnology Academy of Military Medical Science to develop the Ebola virus vaccine in 2017. Furthermore, in November 2021, the factory building of CanSino's mRNA vaccine production project was delivered in the Lingang new area, indicating CanSino Biologics has begun to engage in mRNA vaccine research and development.